What's going on, everybody? It's Chris from Profoto, and today we are going to be talking about the inverse square law. We're going to be talking about what it is, first and foremost, and some scenarios in which you will find its usefulness. So, pretty simple stuff when it comes down to what it comes down to. The rule is every time you double the distance, you lose 2 stops of light. So it's every time, so it's you, yeah, it's just, it comes down to that. Like, I was about to mumble it up with some other way of explaining it, but in its simplest form, every time you double the distance, you lose 2 stops of light. Now, at the source of the light, it's going to be pretty powerful, but as it shoots out, it's going to keep spreading and spreading and spreading, and that's where you're going to get that power loss. It's because per square inch or per square meter, you're going to have less light density. So therefore, the power loss is going to drop down. And that can have some pros and cons when it comes to what you're trying to photograph, whether it be groups of people. I think the inverse square law is really, really huge for people who are shooting groups, just because sometimes what you'll find with a lot of people is there might be a group of 3 or 4 people right around it, and someone might bring an umbrella in really, really tight right here. The problem with that is the closer that light source is going to be to one person, the faster that light's going to start to fall off in the end. So my dummy version of it's always been, the closer the light is to the subject, the faster the fall off is, the faster it gets darker on the other side of it. So if I have my magnum reflector right here lighting me, and we're going to do this practically so you can see this too. So if I have my magnum reflector lighting me right here, and I have another person right here, they are about the same distance from me as I am to the magnum reflector. So there'll be 2 stops less bright here. So perfect exposure, and then that same distance, so it's going to double. So this is about a foot, this is about another foot. So you double that distance and you lost 2 stops of light. And so that's why for shooting groups, this is going to be a big deal. It's also why controlling your background light, knowing the inverse square law, is going to be a big deal. So we're going to shoot all this stuff practically so you can see it in action. But once again, it's really just about light fall off and how fast it's going to go from proper exposure off to a diminished exposure. And so you can do this a couple different ways when you are trying to control it on the background. So, and we're going to talk about those different ways. I don't really have a side view for you guys to see this, but on the wide view, we should be able to show you what we have going on. I have some marks notched off on the floor. So we'll have Kate standing here, and then we'll have a 2 foot, then 4 feet from Kate, and then we'll have 8 feet from Kate right here. That way you can actually see, one, how by just moving the light, how it's going to affect the light on Kate, and then how that same light is going to affect the backdrop. So the backdrop's about 2 to 3 feet away from the marker that Kate's going to be on. So you'll get a good visual that way, and then you can also kind of do the reverse. So if you wanted the background to stay dark, what you could do is you could just move the light and Kate. So what's going to happen is, as you start to, once again, start doubling these distances, you're going to start losing 2 stops of light every time you double it. So we're going to do all that good stuff. Let me see if you guys have anything for me before we start taking photos. For lighting stuff that we're going to be using today, pretty simple. One light source. We're going to be using a B10 with an OCF Magnum. I have it, I don't know if you can really see it with this. Let me roll this thing out here. I have the OCF Magnum on the B10 pushed all the way back, so a little bit past 4. It's going to give me a little bit more light spread. It's not going to be too pointed. And that's because I want to show how fast that light's going to fall off too. We're going to be shooting about half body shots of Kate. So you'll see how fast that light will fall off towards her midsection. But it's without it being too pointed. And then, so you can see that is zoomed in right there. Camera-wise, I have my Fuji X-T3. We're shooting with the Profoto Connect as our trigger. That's just because it's good for one light setups. Keep it really, really simple and stuff there. So let me see if you guys have any questions before we start shooting. Let's see. What's up, everybody? Hey, cheers from New York. Armenia, Italy, what's up? Turkey in the house. Hey, Japan, what's up? Hi, everybody. What's up? Mexico, what's up? Distance 2 for stop of light. Yeah, gotcha. Israel, what's up? Germany, hey everybody, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. So we're gonna start off by having Kate stay stationary at her spot right here.
For me?
Yeah, I think we're ready to rock and roll. So we're gonna start off by having Kate stay stationary right here at this spot, and we're gonna move the light. And I'll be making pretty much 2-stop increments up and up and up, and you're gonna see how the light's gonna affect the background for the most part, and you're gonna see how the light affects Kate. So we're gonna roll this to the side. I'm actually gonna get my chat bot out of the way, so as we're doing this stuff, we can see what's happening. So, perfect. I'm gonna roll in the Magnum. Perfect. Camera settings. I know everybody always likes camera settings. So I'm at 1/60th of a second, or I'm sorry, not 1/60th, 1/250th of a second on my shutter speed. I'm at f8 on my aperture, and my ISO is 160. So that should let you know what my settings are. Really, really simple stuff. And that's, I chose those settings for the most part to kind of make sure that we're eliminating any of the video lights coming in. So if you want to see, like, here, I'll shoot against this red real fast. You can see there's, oh, let me turn off the actual flash so you can see that there's nothing tainting the background. So we have just a stark black background. So let's turn this on. Ready to rock, Kate? Cool. Sweet. So I'm going to take a TTL shot. Actually, you know, I kind of know this power setting already from our test earlier, so I'm just gonna take it there. I think that, you know what, I'm just gonna take a TTL exposure just to be safe. Right here. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Yeah, 3.4. That's about right. So I took, just so if anyone's wondering what I did.
That's a cute shot.
It's a great shot. If anyone wants to know what I just did, I just took a shot in TTL mode. What I'm gonna do now is flip my Connect into manual mode, and that's gonna lock that power setting into place. So we're good there. So I'm gonna step back a little bit to frame this shot out the way I want.
I don't remember what we did.
It's all good.
We did.
Yep, I'll direct you. I'm just gonna get this up a little bit. And I'm gonna use my modeling lamp just to kind of help me point. I know you guys can't really see this because you're waiting for my computer screen to pop up, but I have my modeling lamp on.
I have us in the corner there.
Oh, gotcha, so you can kind of see it. We're tiny. So I've just got the continuous lamp turned on just so I can kind of see it where it's hitting Kate in the face. And I'm gonna turn it down a little bit so it doesn't blind her. There we go. And I'm just gonna back up and get my frame. I'm shooting 50 millimeters is my focal length, so we've got to back up just a touch. Here we go. So this is at 2 feet, 3, 2, 1. So the cool thing about the light being this close to Kate is it's fallen off really, really fast. So you've lost all the background. So if you're trying to keep the background dark, you can bring in the light pretty tight and you can start to really kick out that background. Like I said though, because of the light being more predominant here, it's gonna start to also fall off faster on her midsection. So you can see some shoulder, but that starts to go away. There's a little sheen on the hair, but as it starts to get down to her torso, it's pretty much gone. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start to back it up. So we're gonna bring it back to 4 feet, and I'll show you how this works. Like I said, I'm not gonna do anything except for power up the flash by 2 stops. So that's 4 feet right there where we are. So I'm gonna go right here, 2-stop power up. So I'm actually gonna make sure the light's pointed at her face again, sorry. There we go. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. So there you go. So that's 2 stops up, doubling the distance. What you're gonna notice is the light is falling off slower. So because those photons are starting to spread out, you're gonna start getting more coverage, and that coverage is gonna start to be more even because it's just giving you the same power in more area. So the background starts to come up because now we're kind of equal distance. Maybe there's a little bit more space between Caitlin and the light and Kate in the background. So what you're gonna start to see now is there's more light gonna reach that background, and that's why you're starting to see more of that red color. And so now we're gonna take this back to 8 feet. I actually need to make sure that my laptop power cable's out of the way. I should really plug this in on the other side. Let's see. You also get the added benefit of the insights that I have in my brain that nobody actually cares about, like me repositioning my power cable for my laptop. So you're welcome. So we're now 8 feet. I'm gonna make sure that this light's pointed at Kate, right in this right spot. There we go. And we're gonna go up 2 more stops. So now, what we'll find, 3, 2, 1, proper exposure on Kate. Exactly 2 stops up. All I did was I pushed in the dial on the back of the B10 and I clicked it up 2 stops. And so now we have a proper exposure on Kate there. And now the light is starting to,
You can push yourself.
oh, I can push myself back.
Sorry.
Gotcha. We took the shots. Cool. Let me scooch so we can chit chat. So now the actual light is starting to hit the background and give some more complete coverage. So if you look down here, torso wise, very, very even. Shoulders, everything. Super even light, because I should probably this is probably blowing all kinds of light at my face. That thing is bright, man. So
I'm still seeing stars.
So what we're getting here is as that light is starting to back up, those photons, once again, are spreading even further. So the photons are still moving the exact same. So sorry to get super geeky on this, but the photons are still moving the exact same. The difference is they've now spread out to a point in which the power is not concentrated anymore. And so you need more power to kind of make up that light spread. And that's what that 2 stops is giving us. So now with us backed up to 8 feet from Kate and the background still being kind of what it is, about 2 to 3 feet, we're starting to get a more even exposure on the background and on Kate. So if we wanted to do this in reverse, and we wanted the background to stay dark, what we could do is we could move Kate with the light. So keep Kate and the light at the same distance. So say we did 3 feet, or we stayed at that kind of that 2 feet distance that we did in this shot right here, which the light looks really, really nice. But if we stayed at that 2 foot distance, what would happen is we could keep kind of backing up, or say that we wanted to keep the light. Maybe let me rephrase this, because this shot already has a pretty dark background. So say we wanted to kind of keep this light, like this is the light that we liked on Kate as far as coverage goes. So it's about 4 feet from her. What we could do is if we wanted Kate to stay lit like this, but we wanted a darker background, we could do the same thing. We could work the inverse square law like this. So we can move the light forward, so we could go forward 4 more feet. That means we're gonna lose 2 stops 4 feet backwards, and it's gonna start getting darker and darker and darker. So you have a lot of ways that you can play with this. The other place, once again, that we were talking about that this is beneficial is taking group shots. And we're gonna do a thing here in a second where I'm gonna step into the frame with Kate, and we're gonna show you kind of putting the light source, how to move the light source to where you're getting an even exposure on both people. Let me see if you have any questions in the meantime. If I'm butchering anything, just tell me I'm butchering something. But I think I'm a simpleton in the way that my brain thinks, so I try to keep things pretty simple for myself. But once again, in its most raw form, I always consider it, the closer the light source is, the faster it's gonna get darker on the other side. And you can take that, and the less it's gonna spread. So taking that knowledge, you can kind of start to build a baseline around the way that you're thinking. And you can do a lot of stuff too with having someone reach out to the light and touch, kind of judging how far it is away from, the person that way, and then doing the same thing behind them as far as how you're distancing them from the background. So it's just up to you. Let's see. Is the focus on the eyes? Yes, the focus is on the eyes. Here, there you go. So you can actually see on the shot. So focus is on the eyes. I have my camera actually set to eye autofocus, so it goes there automatically, and I click the button. At this point, I'm just a monkey clicking a button. I'm not actually doing anything. The camera does everything for you now. But really, really simple stuff. So now we're gonna do the same thing, but we're going to have me in the shot, which is gonna make it way worse. But we're gonna show kind of how this is gonna work with groups of people, and also some other ideas for how you can overcome groups. So let's do this. I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna connect my phone up so I can use it as a trigger. Let's get you in the frame, Kate.
All right.
I think I'm actually going to have to back my camera up a touch too, just to get us both in the frame. So
you
yeah, let's go back to
4 feet to 6 feet?
yeah, let's go back to the mark.
Okay.
No, we're going to go 2 feet. We're going to stay at the 2 feet. Bring this down. So here we go. Make sure that that's concentrated on your face so you can't see anything. Perfect.
I love it.
All right, perfect. So that's down there. Let's get this frame right here. I'm gonna try to back it up a skosh so I can get us both in the shot. This isn't going to be the most compelling photo ever made, but the idea is just to get.
How do you keep everybody lit?
How do you keep everybody lit? How does everybody get lit? So let's fire up this Fuji app so I can use it as a trigger. So once again, I'm gonna just stand a little bit behind Kate, like right here, as a shot, and we're gonna see I'm probably a few inches away from her. So we'll see how fast the light starts to fall off towards me, and then what'll happen is we start to back the light up a little bit more. So let's get Fuji rocking. Not now. I don't want to update any firmware. Thank you, sir. So this is, like I said, compelling stuff. Compelling stuff. So we're just going to wait for this to connect up to my camera. Sweet. It's we run everything. We pretty much run everything here on Fuji stuff. So I have like 90 million different cameras. So you know what? Let's do this timer wise. This will just be easier with the timer. I love it when things are working just fine and then all of a sudden they're not working just fine. Let's go with a 2-second timer. I think I can make it back there in 2 seconds. So you're right there, Kate?
All right.
Oh wait, oh my gosh. I need to turn this down 1, 2, 3, 4 stops. Holy smokes, that would have been an obliterated shot. So
Why did you do that?
So I turned it down the 4 stops because the last shot that we took was at 8 feet. So that was going to be, 4 stops more light, way closer. So it would have blown out the shot. So we brought it back down the 4 stops to the 3.4 that we were at earlier. And so we're going to do this. Ready, Kate? So let's see what this mug looks like. So pretty well lit, but you can start to see it falls off. I'm just the creepy guy behind. That is so awesome. So this is at the 2 feet. You can see she's definitely better exposed than I am. I'm definitely starting to drop off. I'm gonna try not to be so creepy on the next shot. Wow, that's awful. That is super terrible. So let's go back here. So this is where, doing some more group shot stuff, this is where this inverse square law thing is going to come in handy because, all right, back on the 2-foot spot for me.
I'm on 2.
Perfect. Sorry, I just got to make sure that as I move the light back, I just want to make sure that it's still pointed towards Kate. There we go. So we're at the 4-foot mark. We're going up 2 stops because when you double a distance, you have to you lose 2 stops of light, so we have to increase by 2 stops of light to maintain exposure. Let's make this weird again. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. So I'm gonna start coming up in the shot a little more even, a little less creepy also, which is dynamite. So once again, the background's gonna come up too, but we're starting to get closer on the exposure being more even between both of us. So let's back it up to the 8 feet. Same thing, power up 2 stops, bop, bop. Make sure that this is pointed at you. There we go. One more time. Perfect. So this we should have, oh, I did go up the 2 stops, didn't I? Sorry, I'm just making sure. Yep, 7.4. So here we go. So we should have a perfect exposure on both of us. Thanks, Kate. So even though I totally wrecked the photo, we have a perfect exposure. And this is where it's going to come in really, really handy for people who do a lot of group stuff, shooting wedding receptions. I get a lot of questions from people asking, like, what's the best modifier for this? And honestly, a lot of the times, depending on what it is, I'll tell a lot of people, take one light, put it right in the middle, and just back it up a little bit. The nice thing is you're not running through any type of diffusion. You're not running through any extra claws that are going to knock down the power output of the flash itself. So you're really going to get a nice even spread on a lot of people. So let me see if you guys have any questions while I'm talking. Hey everybody! Yay, Creeper Chris! Thanks. Glad that I could be super creepy. It's my thing. So, but cool. So for the most part, like I said, it's just about trying to figure out how close you need your light for the scenario that you're shooting. So if you're shooting group shots, maybe the idea is going to be that you need to back that light up a little bit further to make sure that you're getting a proper exposure on everybody, especially if you're only working with one flash. There's some times that you may find that one, you can only afford one flash and that's all you can roll with. How do you make the best out of something like that? Or maybe you want a pack light, or maybe you have space constraints, stuff like that. So it's just kind of working with what you want. Here's one other funny thing about the inverse square law that you can take into thought when, and I don't necessarily know why this is this way with umbrellas, but it's just with umbrellas. And it's just with bounced umbrellas. So with an umbrella, the inverse square law takes into account, and I know someone might say, you know, the inverse square law's idea is being from a pinpoint source, but we're not talking about it from that. I mean, that would also, you know, you'd be shooting in a vacuum, you just don't do that. But with the inverse square law and shooting into an umbrella, you have to take into consideration the umbrella. So the distance that you factor in has to have the distance from the light shooting into the umbrella and back out. So say you have this B10 plus right here. There we go, just make sure we're locked in. So say we have this B10 plus right here. Hopefully you can see this. You have to account for the light from here. Let's go out here a little bit more. You have to account for the light from here into the umbrella and then back out. It's a weird thing that just you have to do, and it's just with umbrellas, and it's just with bounced umbrellas. Because for the most part, with like softboxes and stuff like that, it might just be because it's indirect. With softboxes, you don't have to worry about that. With shoot through umbrellas, it's kind of the same idea as a softbox, so you don't have to worry about that. But with a bounced umbrella, you have to factor in the distance the light is from the umbrella and then back out. So that matters. So thought I would share that with you. It was my buddy Cliff Hausner, who is a lighting guru. This is the reason I joined Profoto in the first place, to learn from him all the time. He taught me that. And I still don't 100% understand why, but he just wanted me to make sure that you knew that when we're talking about the inverse square law and we're talking about umbrellas, you have to factor in the light leaving the flash head itself into the umbrella and then the umbrella back out. So cool. How to approach the shadows. Aaron, that's gonna have a lot to do with light placement. You could do a couple of things. You could move the subject further away from the wall. So that's going to help diminish some of the shadows there. If you want whatever that wall is to be a little more present in the shot, you can just kind of turn on the modeling lamp. Kate, can I have you stand up here really fast? And you could leave it on the wide shot because I just want people to be able to see. And a lot of that's going to be, I don't know if it's going to play that well with the video lights, but we're going to try. So Aaron, what you want to do is just kind of from your eyepiece of your camera, or from the perspective of your camera, you just want to move the light around until you get the shadow to where you want. So if you want to try to diminish it some, you can center it up and then bring the actual light down itself. And what that's going to do is it's going to start lining it up with the person there. So I don't know, let me get out of the way so you can kind of see it. The problem is that the wide shot's not direct. Let me see if I can move this camera a little more directly in front of you. Let's see. So there we go. Cool. So on the wide shot, what I'm saying is, what you can do is you can just kind of play with the light placement. So as you start to go up with the light, you're going to see the shadows drop. As you start to come down with the light, the shadows are going to start to move up. Yeah, sorry about that. you know, I need it bright so they can see it. Sorry. But yeah, so it's just about that shot. It's just about light placement. So that's how you can kind of mitigate some of those shadows. Let's see. And then once again, if you move your subject further away from the background, so if we took that same, let's just do it. Let's move you up to 4. Okay. And then if I have you at 8, no, you're at 2, that's 4. So that's 4 more feet. Let's have you at 4. And then I'll put this at 8. This makes more sense to me. Okay. So let's go right here. So this is the 4 foot, but now Kate is 2, 4. She's probably 6 feet from the background is my guess. So let's get this right here. I knew I need to go down 2 stops because that's where we were from the other one. And so from here, we can start to mitigate that too. What you're gonna find though is and my background's a little tiny, so you may, she's gonna bleed off the shot a little bit. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, timer. But there you go. So,
hold on, let me pull it up.
Yeah, pull up the screen. So what you'll find there, is a big chat bot. So you're able to keep the background relatively dark and diminish the shadows. If you wanted the background to be a little more present, you could always throw a light on it. So there's options. So once again, turn on your modeling lamp, move the light around until the shadows are kind of where you want them. You could 2, pull your subject further away from the background, or 3, you could add a light to the background itself and just kill the shadow with a second light. You could do that with something as simple as the A10. Just kind of put it on its foot, like a little foot, and set it on the ground. You'd be good to go. So let's see. Any other questions before we sign off with this bad boy? Aaron, no problem, man. So the umbrella is 12 inches deep and it's back out at 12 inches plus the distance of the subject. Correct. It's weird. It's a really weird part of the inverse square law. So yeah, when the light comes out of this, you have to factor in. So if, let's do this where I put the light, trying to kind of keep this in a way that makes sense. So here, the light's 2 feet away from me.
Woo!
Awesome. I grabbed it by the knuckle. Cool. So.
You still got all your fingers?
No, they're all gone. So from here, at this mark, I'm probably 3 feet from the umbrella, right? So 3-ish feet. So on the other side of that, you have to factor in that light leaving. So you're talking another 3 feet. So now the light's got to go 3 feet and then come back 6 feet. So you have to keep that in the thought process when you're using a bounced umbrella. So silver or white, you have to remember that. So the closer you can get it, the less light, the more you're going to be able to control that light. But the upside for that is you're going to have, especially when it comes to maybe taking group photos, you're going to find that because the light has to travel more, you're going to start getting those photons spread out even farther. So that's a good hack for taking some group shots, is using a bounced umbrella, because you're able to position it where it goes and you're able to get a little more light spread thanks to the inverse square law inside of an umbrella. So hopefully I said that properly. I know it took
I understood it.
Okay, cool. I took my fingers off in the process. So
Yeah.
the light travel distance, correct. So fun stuff. I think nerding out on this stuff is really, really fun. It's really, really practical things that you should know, but you don't have to. I wouldn't always worry about, like, are you a certain number away at all times? Like I said, if you nutshell it, you can do it the full-on scientific way. So if you double the distance, you lose 2 stops of light. So, or you could think of it from, the closer the light source is to whatever you're photographing, the faster that light's is gonna fall off. So if you need it to give you more coverage, you need more spread across the scene or across more subjects, that means you're just going to back that light up some more. So by the time that the light gets to those subjects, it's started to spread out. So, and that's also kind of where, factoring how much power you have, because once again, you're going to lose power. You're not losing the actual photons themselves, but because they are spreading out, they're not as concentrated. So you have to increase power output to get more light photons where you want them. So the more you play with it, the more interesting it becomes. Yeah, it's pretty fun stuff. So it's a very important thing to know about photography. Once again, whether you're trying to control the light on your background, or you're trying to control the light across multiple humans, or multiple whatever you're taking photos of, it's a good thing to know. So also, if you want, we're gonna start doing this new thing. I'm gonna start giving out show notes. So if you want any notes from this, so we'll have like kind of the basic breakdown. We'll have some of the photos that we took today. We'll have the lighting diagram for it. So if you want to replicate the look, if you like the look, you can replicate it. If you have any questions about it, you can shoot us a message. But if you'll DM us, pardon me, just getting over a cold. If you'll DM us your email and just say, hey, I want the show notes, I will email those to you. So we're working on a cooler way of kind of having access to all the time. But if you want, in the meantime, show notes, just DM us and we'll shoot those out in an email. So pardon me. Oh, so in the meantime, thank you so much for... Oh, my buddy Cliff's in here. Cliff's in here right now. So everybody say hey to Cliffy. Goodness gracious, I'm dying over here. So, but if you have any other questions about anything, if you want to see us cover anything else on these Facebook Lives, shoot us a message. We'll talk about whatever. If you want to talk about how to make a certain type of image, or if you want to learn more, nerdy photo science things, we can talk about that stuff too. So in the meantime, I hope you have an awesome weekend. I hope you stay super safe. And if you have any questions or you need anything, shoot us a message. Love to hear from you. In the meantime, peace out.